Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so I have Dan Henry on the line, and he's founder over at getclients.com. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here.
All right, man. So I'm excited about today's topic. So we're going to talk about how you've generated over $35 million selling digital products, what that looks like, building an 8-figure business. And first off, I got to ask, getclients.com, man, what a great domain. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that story first. I got to go there.
So actually, it's a crazy story. I got that from a very angry ex-wife of somebody who owned the domain.
I was not expecting that. Go ahead.
I always look for awesome. I actually have quite a few awesome domains, and I always look for them. And so I just was like, man, the best domain for my business would be getclients.com. I wonder if that's available. So I look it up, and it's not available, but it's also not being used. So I find out who owns the domain, and I mail them. And apparently, this woman who divorced her husband, I guess her like GoDaddy account was on her name, but it was like his domain or something.
Whoa.
And she was just very angry. And so I ended up getting it for like nothing, like $5,000. And,
wow.
It's worth like way more, but she was so angry. She's like, just offer me something. And I was just like, I don't know, $5,000. And she was like, okay. And I was like, there you go. And that's how I got the domain.
Wow. There's a lot of lessons into that we're not going to go on in here, but no.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well,
the principle and the lesson here is just ask. You never know.
I like that one. That's pretty PC. I'm in. I'll take that, Dan. So let's get into, how'd you get into, I'll tell you, when I first learned about digital marketing way back when, I feel like I think it might have been like Ty Lopez might have been one of the first people that I met or knew in that started kind of way early when I didn't know what it was. I was working in a finance job. I had a firm, and I was as corporate as you can get. And I was like, what is all this digital stuff? What are these people talking about? Like, it was such a foreign world to me that I was kind of introduced to. This would be going on 10 years ago, I would say. So I got into digital side of things, content creator, otherwise. Where did digital start for you? How did you begin, like, kind of going, or even how did you discover it?
Well, I basically, out of desperation, I had delivered pizza for 7 years. I worked for corporate, but like as a very entry-level person. And I got sick and tired of not being able to pay my bills. And one December in Chicago, it was negative 16 degrees, negative 52 with wind chill. And my furnace went out on a Friday night. And I called my landlord and I said, we're freezing in here. Can you send somebody out?
Man, that's serious.
Said,
I'm from Michigan, by the way, so I'm from the Midwest. So that's serious business that you're talking about right there. That's not a fun situation. Go ahead.
Right, and this was in like Chi-Town, Chicago. So he says to me, well, listen, you pay, who's out of town or something. He's like, you pay for the person to come after hours and fix the furnace, and I'll just take it off your rent next month. And it was like $300. Well, the problem was I didn't have $300 to my name. I had like $120. And so I could not get them to come out on Friday to fix it. And it was Christmas weekend. It was like
come on.
right around Christmas. Oh, yeah. So my girlfriend and I, we went and we spent our last $100 and we bought 4 cheap space heaters that were not the kind that blew air, just the kind that like gave off hot air. We put them in a square, sat huddled together, and because we had 4 of them plugged in, it would trip the breaker every hour or so. So for 3 days, we had to huddle together and every hour wake up to flip the breaker back on to turn those on to stay warm until Monday when I could get, he could deal with it. And this was all over the fact that I didn't have $300. And I just never wanted to be in that position again. And so I did what everybody does in that position. I Googled how to make money online. And I just went down this rabbit hole, and I figured out, and here's what's really crazy about this, is I actually figured this out by mistake years before this, and it was staring me in the face, and I didn't pay attention to it. I figured out that the people that were making the most money were selling products that cost nothing to make. That's who was making crazy money. The only cost they had was the cost of acquiring a customer. Because digital products, once you make them, like online courses, ebooks, these type of things, even coaching and consulting, there's no cost of goods.
Yeah.
And so when I was in college, somebody paid me $100 to help them set up their home studio. They were a guitar player. They wanted to set up their home studio software. And I ended up posting on Craigslist and paying my way through college by offering these coaching sessions for $50 an hour where I taught them how to use their home recording software because I was going to school for audio engineering.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's a digital product. That's coaching, right?
Yeah, it is.
And I pay my way through college, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm done. And I just like didn't realize.
Whoa, so you were already in the business and didn't know. Wow.
I didn't know it. And I was like, well, I'm done with college. I got to go. So I just never did it again. And then when I got in that position and then I read these articles of all these people making money selling digital products, I'm like, wait a minute, I did that. I paid my way through college, but I didn't know I could become a millionaire doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, so it was just a big moment for me. And I just, honestly, I dived deep into it, learned how to do it. And, it started small. And here's the thing, if you're in like corporate or you're a professional, you don't realize the power you have. Most people who make money in digital products, they know nothing. They go out and learn a skill. Like there's a guy that made $1 million teaching people how to use Microsoft Excel, like something so simple. Or they'll learn Facebook ads, or they'll learn social media, or they'll learn a software that most people struggle with. And just because they know how to use the software, they'll create a course on it, and bam, they're good to go. They're like making money. And if you imagine for a moment, this is why I say every single business needs a digital product. Let's say you were a tax attorney, right? And you specialize in setting up foundations to help people save taxes. You could create a course on how business owners can save on taxes. You sell that course. You can run ads to it. You can put it on your socials, whatever. People will watch that course and they'll get value. And then at the end of the course, you can be like, okay, so you can go take everything I learned and do it, and you should, or we can set you up a foundation, completely eliminate your tax obligation, completely legal, and give you all these advantages and can still control your money. Inquire about our done-for-you foundation setup. Boom, right? And so the best customer is an educated customer. Because when people get on sales calls for like these high-end professional services, the biggest problem is people just don't understand stuff. They're not educated on the processes. And so every sales call, they have to explain everything. But if you sell digital products and you create content that makes the customer educated, then when you actually want to sell them something expensive, it's simply a formality of whether or not they have the money.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me because I'm a big fan of it. And I remember, we launched an entire agency based off of that. My original idea was, we have a media company and I wasn't particularly looking to do a bunch of production or maybe a bunch of other things. Like we were doing pretty well with what we were doing. And a bunch of my buddies that did digital products and other things like that, they're like, Adam, you got to do one, like show somebody how to launch a podcast. And so exactly what you said happened. So we created a digital product, and the people that we sold, our audience and our listeners tend to be a little bit more seasoned. Like they're not in their careers and otherwise, and maybe they have more money than they have time normally. So they go through the course, and then at the end, they're like, yeah, this is all great. I understand, but can you do it for me? That's how we launched our entire agency. We've launched over 250 shows now. And that was based off of the very seed of the idea was literally me sitting in front of a camera and teaching people what I knew about podcasting. And then from there, it grew. And then that product, eventually we kind of discontinued that part. And now I'm about to come out with something else. But I tell all business owners exactly what you're saying. I'm like, no, you need to do it, like, period. I don't care what it is, how it is. Like, you need to work with a professional that knows how to do it if you don't know how to do it, because you can add some serious revenue. And now our latest one we did, what we're doing still, is a personal branding cohort, and we do this training and it's take people through cohorts. But not to get off topic, but either way, it's been a great way to get deeper with our community. It's built some of our more loyal customers. It's built what you said, which is our highest educated customers for sure, that understand and value what we do. And man, any business that's not doing it, like, I'm in, like that. I'm like, you guys need to be in.
Yeah. And that's the best. Go ahead.
No, go.
Well, I was going to say, some of the best products you can sell are books, whether those a physical book or a digital book, because we did about $10 million in revenue for one of my first online courses. And after we did about big numbers, obviously I had a lot of people reach out and say like, hey, how do you sell digital products? Because I didn't teach that. I was teaching like local business growth and stuff.
Yeah.
I used to own a bar and restaurant. And when I got so much interest in people asking me about it, I was like, okay, well, let me write a book on it. So I wrote a book on it called Digital Millionaire Secrets. And it was about how I did 10 million selling my knowledge online. And I write that book. It goes parabolic. It becomes a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. And people would read the book, and then they would reach out to us for, coaching on how to sell digital products and consulting and whatnot. That book, just from people that read, because, we created a whole new program for them. People would read that book, and just from people who read the book and then reached out to us after the book, we did about $15 million in revenue.
Wow.
Just from that book. And so it doesn't matter if it's like people, they get caught up on the medium, right? They get caught up on, is it a course? Is it a book? Is it this or that? But to me, it's all the same, right? Whether you write a book, whether you sell a course, whether you do a podcast, et cetera, the message and the education that you give creates customers for life. My favorite just happens to be a book because I personally feel that people that will take a book, open it up and read it from front to back are the type of people who invest time and money into improving their lives. And those are the best clients. And so I always recommend everybody have a book.
Yeah. And see, people are listening to this. I don't know how we don't know each other, Dan. People listening to this are probably like, Adam brought in a ringer. Like, you don't know this, Dan, but that's how we started, was in books and helping people with, our original product was like an anthology version for entrepreneurs. Kind of like, think about Chicken Soup for the Soul, but anthology style for entrepreneurs specifically. And we published over 400 authors now, 9 years later. So that and this entire company started with a book. It was a book that a friend told me, you got to write a book. You got a business. I'm like, man, I'm not writing a book. That's for broke people. Like, what are you talking about? I don't want to write a book. Like, I didn't know anything about what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was a finance guy. I didn't know. I was investing, on the behalf of clients, millions of dollars. And now I'm going to start focusing on a $5, $10 product. I'm like, why am I going to do that?
Well, changed
my entire life, though, Dan. It did. Like, handing that out.
You don't make money from the book, though. You don't make money from the book. You make money from people that read the book.
Totally agree. And I didn't know that at that time. I did not know that at that time, but I handed out and this is an example of I would argue, a kind of older fashioned business. So I was a financial advisor at that time, and I handed out thousands of those things, and I brought in millions of dollars of assets under management from handing out a little book. And I'm like, what? This works? And that set me on the whole journey, Dan. I'm like, man, my long-term listeners are like, come on, Dan's a ringer. What'd you pay this guy? Good to have you here, Dan.
Great minds think alike.
Speaking of books, so I know you have Digital Millionaire Secrets. I know you have the Pocket Guide to High Ticket Selling. Where do you want to start with this catalog, man? I definitely want my audience to go pick some up.
So the Digital Millionaire Secrets was the first book that I wrote, and that was on how to sell your knowledge. Pocket Guide to High Ticket Selling was for people who specifically were selling high-end stuff. I mean, and that's not just coaching. That could be services, that could be, many of your listeners are already in these businesses. They sell $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 packages, or it could be CPAs, et cetera. And it's a 12-part script that once you just guide the person on the phone through these 12, and they're all very short, but 12 sections of a conversation. By the end of the conversation, you don't even have to sell them. They're selling themselves. And so when you pair those two books together, you get a really powerful business model. And then I've written several other books, manuals, guides, resource books, copywriting, and things like that. And I'm going to write another book coming up. I actually have two books in the works on how to pitch, like how to pitch what you do, and another one on personal branding. Because I feel, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, I feel that trust is a big issue now in almost every business. And it used to be that if you have a brand, that's nice. But now it's a requirement. Because if you don't have a brand, people look you up. People don't just buy stuff anymore. They look you up. And if you don't have a brand and somebody else does, they're going to pick the person with the brand. Yeah,
that's a big piece. Man, I'm telling you, how do we not know each other, Dan? That's our big one here, is our personal brand accelerator. And we've been doing that a long time now.
That's a big...
Yeah, I think we're like 2 years in, maybe 3 years in now on that program. We had a lot of students go through that one, and mine is, I don't know, it's just a little slightly different. I'm really just teaching people what I did the whole time, and I say that just so that people that are listening, what they're thinking about courses or ways that they can add value to people. Really, on that particular thing, all I did was just took people through my journey and what I learned through the ways of my personal branding. Because remember, I was a financial advisor, nothing special, no special thing I was doing. I didn't go to school for this, anything like that. But I'm a big fan of this whole industry, really, and individuals like yourself that learn something, make a lot of money, and then go teach other people how to do it themselves, so that people can choose what they want to do as well. So I feel like it's super empowering.
Absolutely, and it's not just money. It could be weight loss. It could be relationships. Yeah. Ultimately, most people who start businesses like this, they find a problem in the world. They find a unique way to solve that problem, and they want to share that process with the world of how they solve the problem. And if people want help with that process, well, that's where their service or their coaching or their consulting or their course or whatever it is comes in.
Amazing. Dan, man, it's been great having you on the show today and getting to know more about what you're up to, and also your catalog of books as well. So the Pocket Guide to High Ticket Selling and Digital Millionaire Secrets. And for everybody listening, just so you know, it's easy to find on Amazon. I just bought the I don't know if this is a limited time or what it is, but I just picked up the Pocket Guide to High Ticket Selling. So I see it was on there for 99 cents on the Kindle. So I'm all in on that one and looking forward to digging into that. Dan, if people want to connect with you, pick up books or anything else like that, or follow you on social, how do they do that?
Well, our main company is getclients.com, but I'm very active socially on YouTube and Instagram. Both of those are at Dan Henry. It's just my name. And then if you want a physical copy of those books, it's digitalmillionairesecrets.com or highticketselling.com for a physical copy. But I'm super active on Instagram. I do jump in the DMs, and I try to put out some amazing YouTube videos as well.
Wonderful. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll put a bunch of links in the show notes so that you can click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Dan, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.